Comrade Chere, welcome back. Tell us your time at the college, right from the beginning. What happened? How did it happen? Right away from the Robert Mugabe International Airport.
Okay, thank you so much for having me on this program. Yeah, it has been a terrible experience since from the time that I was abducted at Harare, at Robert Mugabe International Airport in Harare on the 31st of July, when I was bound to travel from Harare to Vicfors for a philanthropy conference. Yeah. So on the day when I went to Harare International Airport, I passed through all the security checks after checking in, and then I went and boarded a plane, the first jet, which was bound for the Vicfors. It was supposed to leave at 10 to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Then just a few minutes before the taking off time, the engine had already started. But then it was then switched off, and then there was an announcement from the people who were official in the plane that they were going to delay taking off due to a situation which was beyond their control, and they apologized to the customers for the inconveniences in terms of delaying. So soon after they've announced that they were going to delay taking off, that is when 6 people boarded the plane. Among the 6, there was one woman. They were wearing reflectors. They came to the seat where I was, and then they instructed me to disembark from the plane, and they also went to Samuel Gwenzu, who I was seated next to at the seat. They instructed him the same, and then I had to ask them what authority that they had in terms of instructing us to disembark, but they then said that we will find out the reason after we disembarked. So they were forceful. They just took our phone, my phone, and the other colleague's phone there and there. And then we were forced out of the plane, and they instructed the officials to remove our bags from the cargo. And then from there, they took us to the domestic terminal, which is still as under renovation, so it was closed. We were taken through the back side of the domestic terminal through a small opening, which is of a height of my knees, and then we had to force to crawl into that.
They had not identified themselves.
They had not identified themselves.
They were still 6.
They were still 6, and we were asking them to identify themselves and why they were forcing us there. And they said that we will find out later. So when we get into the domestic terminal, we were made to wait there. And then they were busy on their phones, communicating with other people. While they were communicating, we couldn't hear, but they were busy with their phones communicating with other people. Then after almost an hour in the domestic terminal there, which was closed, one of them went to the doors and opened the door, and then a group of around 14 to 15 men came in. They were led to a room which is that's adjacent into the domestic terminal, but that room is you go through a passage, and then there's a room. So when those men entered that room, the people who were holding us hostage, three of them went into that room, spent some time, 20 minutes with that group of men who came. And then later on, they came into the domestic terminal where the other 3 were left behind watching us. So we were then led one by one into that room, which I can describe as a torture room, because that was where the interrogation and all the torture that was happening to us, that was being subjected to us, was taking place. So they were calling us one by one into that room. I was the last one to get into that room. Yeah, when I went into that room, I was subjected to a lot of torture from this man. I can describe this torture, I can relate this torture from the story that I was told by my father when I was still young. The torture he experienced during the liberation struggle, in which he was accused by the then Rhodesian state agents that he had assisted the liberation fighters. So my father told me that when he was abducted by when he was taken, in fact, during the day by the Rhodesian state agents, then they went with him. Where I'm from, Uzumba. They went with him from a place which is called Katio Business Shopping Center from our area in Mahema. And then they subjected him to a lot of torture. When we grew up, we discussed injuries, and when I asked him, that is what he told me. He only woke up or regained consciousness after the beating, being accused for assisting the liberation war fighters. And the story that he told me is actually almost the same with what happened to me. And it is really sad that this is coming at a time when the same people who made my father tortured because he was assisting, it was a noble cause, now torture me, send people to torture me because these people, I want to strongly believe that they are state agents in this Zimbabwe, which we say is a free Zimbabwe, a liberated Zimbabwe.
Just hold you a bit. What was the moment like? What was the environment like? What was the mood when you entered into the room? How many people were inside? I just want to get a picture of what exactly did it look like.
Yeah, so this room doesn't have enough lighting. There were no chairs in that room. All the men, around 15 men, were standing in that room, and the room is separated by a pit, which is almost around 2.5 to 3 meters deep on the other side. You could see there's a pit. So when I entered this room, they started asking me questions almost all at a time. So when I tried to answer for one, like what are you going to do in Vic Falls? The other one asking who has funded you to go to Vic Falls? And when I tried to answer, then the other one will hit me, saying, why are you not answering me and answering him first? And I try to explain to them that I can't answer to you at the same time, and I try to tell them consistently that I'm going. It's a philanthropy conference, and it feeds also into even the African agenda. Grashama Shew is part of the respected guest that is at that conference. They couldn't take it anymore. That's when they started hitting me all over the body. They were using iron bars. Those iron bars that are used for window frames, on the window frames, to prevent thieves from getting in. That's the kind of iron bars that I was used to be hit. Iron bars, wooden bar, kick, open hands and kicks all over the body, and then they put handcuffs on me, and then forced me to lie facing down, and then some standing on my feet and hitting me at the back. It was really terrible. Part of them were recording me using their cell phones when I was being hit, and also.
Could someone happen to hear what could be happening in that room when he or she's outside?
It depends now with the distance that person could be, but it's I think it depends with the distance, but that room is in the passage next to the domestic plane, and also it depends whether you are next to the you are a few meters from the room, you could hear, but if you are just some meters away, so several meters, you could not hear.
And from the way you see it, do you think it's a really that room is in that state because of the renovations, or it's a deliberate place that is meant for such inhuman treatment?
I'm not so sure whether the room is there specifically for this purpose, but since I was tortured in that room and it had nothing in terms of other things that you could say that this is an office or what, I would maybe supposedly want to believe that it might be maybe designed for the purpose that it was used to towards me. And so yeah, when I was being tortured, they made me to unlock my phone. They asked me to unlock my phone, and of which I refused because they had illegally seized my phone, and these people did not even identify themselves. So I refused to unlock my phone, and also being forced to chant slogans. I refused that. So they continued hitting me. They were saying that they are the open boys, and word should spread that there is open boys in town who are in operation. And they accused me, saying that we are planning to protest during the upcoming SADC summit. To me, which was unfounded allegations, because we were just going to attend a philanthropy conference. All those lies that they were alleging were only lies and stories, not factual. So the moment.
Were you really planning something
No,
during
no, no,
SADC?
no, 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 not at all.
Do you know of any who was planning to?
I didn't know of anyone who was planning a SADC protest. Actually, I'm just a trade unionist, a teacher who was going for the philanthropy, thinking that also to tap valuable, important interactions from the philanthropy education that will help the education sector. That was the main reason I was going there, and I was going there on behalf of Amalgamated Road Shares Union of Zimbabwe as their Secretary General. Nothing to do with the SADC summit that was coming in. I don't know where the paranoia was coming from these people, to an extent that they could torture me up until I lose consciousness, only to wake up my face covered with a mutton cloth, and a gentleman who was wearing a suit covering his face with a mask, pouring water from a bucket, which choked me, and then regained my consciousness. And after I regained the consciousness, I was my clothes were tattered, and there was blood stains on my clothes, and I was then instructed to take clothes from the bag that he had clothes that I wanted to use at Victoria Falls, and I was instructed to change the clothes and put on other clothes, and also to apply Vaseline, which was a way to cover up for the beatings, the scars, and all the visible blood stains that were on my clothes. Where I was detained, I was then put into the terminal, inside the domestic terminal, where the other colleagues were there. Then from there, around 7 to 8.
So how did the beatings last? The torture, how did it last? It lasts for how long did it last?
I was the last one to be taken into that room, which I describe as a torture room. I think it was maybe around 5. And then in the room, then from there I was. The moment
By the time you woke up.
I didn't knew what the time it was, but it was dark. It was dark. It was now more dark, meaning that there were several hours it passed, and then we were then told that we are under arrest, and that is the police is coming to collect us from the airport, and then the police came at between 7 and 8 p.m. Police from CID, Law and Order, who were not part of the group that was torturing us. We were then surrendered to the police. They took us then from myself, Namatai Kwekweza, Samuel Gwens, and Fusimus Moyo were then taken to Harare Central CID Law and Order, where upon arrival, we were then told that we are now being charged with disorderly conduct, and we are now under the police detention. So we were then detained at Harare Central Police Station for 2 days. Then we were taken to court on Friday to Harare Magistrate Court, where bail deliberations or bail hearing started. It did not end there.
Before we proceed to the court, what was your experience during the 2-day detention at the police station? This is Harare Central Police Station, right?
The period of detention in the police cells were really painful to me because I was injured. I really needed
medical attention.
Of course, the lawyers that were representing us, we were deployed by the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, did a great work, actually, by conducting the doctors and also negotiating for me to be treated whilst I was in police custody. So the doctor would come and attend to me when I was in police custody, but because I was really, really injured, the pains were there to an extent that it was difficult for me even to sleep. All my parts were in bad shape, and I'd also some bruises and also some deep cuts on either side of my body, legs. So sleeping was just terrible, considering also even worsened by the mere fact that even at the cells there's no any proper sleeping facility except those concrete beds. So yeah, I can say it was difficult. And when we went to the courts, when the bail hearing started, it did not end there. So we were remanded in custody, but this time we were sent to Harare Remand Prison. So I was also denied by the magistrate. I was denied the right to medical examination of my doctors of my own choice at the remand prison. So the order that was given was that the prison official would take me to their clinic. So went on a Friday. On Saturday, I went to the clinic at the remand prison. There were no medication. Then on a Sunday, we were transferred to Chikurubi Maximum Prison. We were told that we were being transferred to Chikurubi Maximum Prison, and we were transferred to Chikurubi Maximum Prison. That is where I spent the time from the time we were transferred up until then we were given bail on the 4th of September. We were at Chikurubi Maximum Prison.
So what were the reasons for you to be transferred from remand to Chikurubi?
There was no meaningful reason that was given, except that the officer in charge indicated that it was just an instruction that we should be transferred to Chikurubi Maximum Prison, where high-level criminals with length sentences are kept, and we were in D class. As you can see from my my uniform in prison.
Is it the uniform that you were putting on?
This is the uniform that I was putting in when I was in prison with the prison number 742 of 24 at Shikurubi Maximum. And the experience there was tough because most of the time we were in leg irons and also in handcuffs. Each time you had a visitor, you want to go there, you are in leg irons, you also in handcuffs. And when I was injured, it was really tough. The welfare even of the prisoners there, in terms of diet, the food is not is poorly cooked. In terms of even basic supplies like blankets and so forth, there's no insufficient basic supplies. Overcrowding in cells, for example, I was staying in a holding cell where the capacity of people under normal circumstances should be around 20 and below, but you see that most of the time will be more than 40. So it was even painful when it comes even to sleeping times, that most of the time you can sleep for just a few hours because you are in pain and there's no space.
How did you sleep?
You take turns to sleep.
How did you sleep in such an overcrowded?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying you take turns to sleep because the place is not sufficient for prisoners to sleep.
And do you believe that you being transferred from remand to Chikrubi somewhere was a way of punishing you or test your resilience, if I can put it that way?
Definitely not suspect, but really convinced that the transfer from remand prison to Chikurubi maximum prison was a way to say of punishing or fixing or instill further pain on me. Even if you see the nature of the charge that was being preferred against us, which was a disorderly conduct, which carry even a sentence of not more than 6 months, and which is a finable offense, but now being sent to Chikurubi maximum prisoners
In
chains, where the armed robbers, murderers, and rapists. Those are the nature of the cases of people that are supposed to be in the remand prison. But in this case, it was just a matter of instilling pain to me and the other colleagues that I had. And it was also even a challenge for me to get treatment when I was at Chikurubi maximum prison. I was then taken to the hospital. There's a hospital at Chikurubi maximum prison, but again the medication there, they don't have enough medication. They only just have a few painkillers, paracetamols, and in my case, I needed also to be examined because there was highly suspicion of internal injuries. So the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights then had to engage the prison officials at Chikurubi maximum prison, such that I will be the doctor, my private doctor, will be able to come and attend to me. So the doctors of choice then was allowed to come, but each time the doctor would come, would want to come, sometimes not come because of a lot of bureaucrats and protocols for him to enter. So the doctor would attend to me a few times because of the hierarchy. Then later on, they had to apply to the High Court for me to be taken to a private hospital because I needed also to go under further medical examination for internal organs. So then the ZPCA complied at last because of the High Court order, and I was taken to the private center under prison guard, where there were further medical examination. And then I was I was then released by the High Court on the 4th of September.
But how did you relate with fellow prisoners at Chikurubi Maximum Prison? What were the challenges?
Okay, being a prisoner at Chikurubi Maximum Prison and also with other prisoners that were there, yes, we had challenges, but the challenges affected most of us. So, for example, we're talking about the challenges of overcrowding in cells. It was affecting all of us. So, yeah, we will discuss. There were times that we will discuss about our challenges, also as people who were in prison, and also as human beings. That even one is a prisoner, it doesn't mean that that person should be treated without like inhuman, because already that person is serving a sentence, and also now having another sentence being passed by the prison officials, like it's even another sentence when one is not even having a proper place even of sleeping. So we could even also discuss all these things with other prisoners as well when we were in the maximum prison at Chikurubi.
What was the relationship with the prison officers, the officials?
There are prison officials who are overzealous. There are prison officials who who treat also other people
Well,
yeah, well. So it depends with who it was, you know. So, like in my case, when I was tortured at Robert Mugabe International Airport, it's another experience that I had omitted to say. When it's that those people who were torturing us were pulling off my dreadlocks. All my dreadlocks were of this length, but they were pulling off, cutting some of them with a knife. I only then able to straighten the other, and leave those who were the two which remained afterwards, after my release. So even at Chikurubi, when I had two dreadlocks, they could, some of them, before they even heard that I was tortured and my dreadlocks were removed by the people who tortured me, some would come and wants to attack you for that. But I was a person who is in remand. I was not a person who was found guilty or who was sentenced. And what it means that my rights were not taken, were not supposed to have been taken, because I was just sent to be in a remand. But you would see prison guards wants to treat you as if someone who was already convicted
and sentenced.
Yes, and sentenced. Yeah, but not all of them. Some are also nice people with who treat people with good heart.
Okay, so fast forward to maybe your release day. I mean, maybe before that, you may need to confirm that you ended up going outside the prison getting medical services. Did that happen? We read that and we heard it from prison officials that you are now receiving medical services outside the hospital.
Yeah, I was taken to a private hospital after the lawyers had actually applied for to the High Court to grant order. Without the High Court order, there's no way maybe that I was going. I think so, to have been, but thanks that the lawyers worked very hard, and then the ZPCS complied, and I was taken also to the private hospital, where I went through also quite a number of medical examinations and treatment there.
Do you feel safe with regards to your health right now after going through such an experience?
I can say that my health is in a compromise. As I speak right now, I'm spending most of the time in a medical institution getting treatment. I'm still undergoing a lot of treatment. So it has been affected. I have not yet fully recovered. I can still feel the left chest pains, and at times I feel like I feel like someone who has got asthma, but I didn't have that condition, and I don't have that condition. Difficulties in breathing here and there. So
These are the things that you were not
I
experiencing
wasn't
before.
experiencing all these things before. This came after this torture, and
You suspect
yeah,
something might have happened to your body.
exactly. And I think it. I don't know now. I'll still get advice from the doctors after I've gone through all the medical examination, whether how long will this last. But since that day, I haven't been well.
You are a trade unionist, as you said earlier. Do you think that the environment is conducive or safe for you to proceed fighting for the welfare of teachers and as well as the rights of children in school? Do you think that the environment can support your aspirations with regards to fighting for the welfare of teachers and rights of children?
Trade unionism has been criminalized, but what we do is according to the constitution dictates of this nation. Trade unionist roles are clearly defined also in the constitution of Zimbabwe. So the operating environment, of course, has been is criminalizing trade union, which is not supposed to be the case. But we still have got an obligation and also a constitutional right to fight for the welfare of workers, and also as also one of the mission and the objective of the union that I serve as the Secretary General, fight also for equal access of education to all, which is also even in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 4. So yes, the operating environment is a bit hard and difficult because of the criminalization of trade union, disregard of labor rights. But either way, because our conscience and my conscience is very clear that what we are doing is lawful, what we are doing is not criminal, we'll continue doing that. Even if the situation is, if the environment is abnormal.
You are a family man. What was your family saying upon return? What did your family say, rather, upon return from prison?
When I returned home from prison, the family was happy to help to be reuniting with me after a length stay in remand prison. And but I could also see and feel that yes, they were affected a lot, especially when they were thinking that as a father, I should have been also with them most of the time, considering that it was also during the holiday, providing also a family role as a father, but I was not there. So I could and see that it's really affected them psychologically, even my kids. But we are trying also by all means to spend some time together and to cover up for the time lost when I was in detention.
Do you sometimes fear for your life that you might also maybe?
My fear, my greatest fear is for people who do not speak out. This struggle is not only a struggle for one person, it's a struggle for all. Access to quality education and inclusive equal education, especially in the communities, should be something that also even people, besides being trade unionists, because the Constitution clearly provides for these things. So my fear is that for those who have been ignorant in terms of not speaking out, and at the end of the day, it might be a Robert Chere targeted also, but if people speak out, it won't be only a Robert Chere struggle. But of course, I know that operating the environment that I am in, at any given point in time, like even in this case, I'd planned that I'm going for the philanthropy education in Vicforce, spend 3-4 days, I come back. And when I went to the airport, I did not reach the Victoria Falls. Then I was then tortured, almost left dead. Then went to Chikurubi Maximum Prison for 35 days, never returned. So what you can say, anything can happen, yeah, anything can happen in this environment that we are operating on. So you can plan what we plan, but at the end of the day, it won't go that way.
But what keeps you motivated to do things that you maybe possibly see that they might threaten your life? What keeps you motivated to fight for teachers' welfare, children's rights in school?
Mainly, it is my mindset that is liberated. The consciousness of my mindset pushes me to make sure that there should be equality. Those who are also vulnerable, there should be a voice that speaks for the undertrodden. And the humble background that education saved me. If I had not vested in also in education, my father was a peasant farmer. So I also have this belief that if we fight for the upliftment of education, there are also vulnerable kids that are out there in the marginalized community, but they need our voices for them to also have a future. So it's those things that keeps me going, that I should also speak for the vulnerable child who is in Muzaraban, who is failing to get a meal because there is drought. So why can't I speak out about National Schools feeding program so that that child can also get a meal and be able to attend schools so as to secure the future? And after all, education is a right according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe. So those are the things that keeps me going even under difficult times, of the need to actually speak also to those who also can't be able and the vulnerable, especially in the line of education.
So we also learned that you have been transferred from your former school to another school in the rural areas. Is it in the rural areas where sometimes some place there down there in Wedza and so forth? What exactly happened?
I was transferred actually at the beginning of this year by the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. I asked for the reasons for the forcible transfer. They did not actually open up, but they just said that they've investigated a security issue concerning me, and then they transferred me. And when I went the first term in January, I was told by the district officials that there was no place for me. So then went back home, and then I was then called in last year, second term, the beginning of second term. And then I was placed at Chitida Secondary School, which is in Wedza. That is where I was posted there. But even all this transfer process, I can simply say, since 2021 up to now, I do not have any salary. I'm not on pay slip from the employer. But I think this has a lot to do with my trade union work, also in order to frustrate me and also in order to push me out from the ministry, both by not paying me, by transferring me, sending me to schools which is far from my home, separating me with my family, which is even against the ministry's policy. It's just a way of further frustrating also me, so that they push me out of the ministry.
So what kind of security did they highlight that they were transferring you due to security reasons? What exactly do they mean?
The security reasons that I had, I raised the issues to do with security.
You are the
Myself,
one who raised the issues.
the issues to do with my security. What I just wanted was the employer to guarantee my safety at the school, because the last time that I was abducted, before this, before
Latest experience.
the latest experience was that I was abducted actually in the school community
premises.
area. So I just raised the security issue from the employer, that the employer must also guarantee my safety from the people that can actually invade schools and politicize the school environment, and then abduct a person. That's when later on they came up with that issue of forceful transfer.
What subjects are you specializing? Are you teaching?
I'm a qualified science teacher in all the three science subjects. I was trained to teach all the three science subjects: biology, physics, and chemistry. But currently, the curriculum that I'm teaching is catering for combined science, but I'm a qualified science subject of the pure science subjects.
Did they say something when they stopped paying you your dues? Did they communicate to you what were the reasons?
They just seized my salary by filing salary cessation forms, and of which we are following up on that through the HR as the protocol. But the time frame now is now length. So they were citing the issue of administrative issues. But now it's time that I'm reconsidering taking the issue to the labor court because it's now a serious labor injustice issue.
Mkoma Chere, mahita basa nekuti pamukana okutaurawo nemi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wish you
on this
all the
program.
best in life.